Alright there VC, it's Steve Whitty here. It's time to do another video. This one is a recent finds video. I've got a fair bit, so I might have to split this into two. All depends on how long this is taking. I tend not to like doing videos that are too long because I think people lose attention, particularly whittering on about new finds. You're going to have to forgive me if I sound a little bit bunged up. I've woken up with a bit of a cold this morning, so nothing to worry about. But just take some medication and just hopefully that will kill it off within the day. As I said, these are recent finds. I haven't done one of these videos in a few weeks, so hence why there's a fair few to show. So without further ado, let's get cracking. First act, 3 albums will show by an act, and I picked these up primarily because their early albums are very. I don't see them very often in the UK, so when they were in the shop, I decided to pick them up. And the band I'm talking about is Aerosmith. This is their debut album from 1973. This is a reissue. CBS, this will be an 80s reissue, the red CBS label. As I said, these albums are very difficult to find, especially this debut album. But as I said, there's 3 albums by by Aerosmith I picked up, and the next one is Toys in the Attic from 1975. This is a German Columbia reissue, Columbia Legacy reissue. On here, you obviously got Toys in the Attic, Walk This Way, Sweet Emotion, Round and Round, some of the Aerosmith classic tracks. And then the third one, Rocks. Let's take it out here. Take the glare out there. Again, another German Columbia Legacy reissue. Back in the Saddle. Nobody's fault. Classic what's considered to be classic period 70s Aerosmith. I would agree. I know some people consider Pump to be up there with it, but I do prefer listening to the 70s stuff, and I was really pleased to find those copies of those said albums. Next album I found, this is Alice Cooper's Constrictor. I wouldn't normally show it because it's quite badly water damaged. Vinyl plays fine. This is considered to be his comeback album. I would consider it to be his comeback album. It came out 85, 86. He'd finally cleaned up. He'd got the band together. I saw him on this tour at the Birmingham Odeon New Street in 1986. And a mate of mine who was big deep into him persuaded me to go and see him. And it's... it was cooking show. It was the last show I ever saw at the Odeon New Street. The following year, it reverted back to a cinema. On here, you've got Teenage Frankenstein, and then he's back, the man behind the mask, which I think was used in one of the Friday the 13th films. Couldn't tell you which one. But yeah, really happy to find that. Sort of changing tacks, and then I found 2 albums by this artist. The B-52s, the debut album released in 1979. Planet Claire, Rock Lobster's the big track on here. When it first came out in 79, it was a minor hit single. It then got a life of its own, got reissued in 1986 and became a bigger hit single. Produced by Chris Blackwell, and it was released on the Island label. This is reportedly the album, or I think Rock Lobster, when John Lennon heard it, he realised that Yoko could go back in the studio and record with him, and it got him back into gear to record what ended up as Double Fantasy. following year saw the release of Wild Planet. I showed this last week in the Alternative 1980, so I'm not going to go on too much about it. There you go. So if you want to know more about it, watch the Give Me 10 1980, the not so usual subject video. Next up, I started to find this. This is Jeff Beck's Guitar Shop. This features Jeff Beck, Terry Bozzio and Tony Hymas. Released, I believe, if I have a look at it, and that's on the Epic label there, 1989. Really great album, and you can see it combines, obviously Jeff Beck is big, obviously guitar, and he's considered by many to be the finest guitar player out there, but also his love in his spare time, he loves working, restoring and making hot rod cards. So in a way it sort of like highlights the two things that Jeff Beck's into. Really fine album. This was, I was a bit worried because it was slightly warped, but it didn't affect the actual playing of the album, so really pleased to find that. Carrying on the Jeff Beck theme, I've got Jeff Beck, Tim Bogart and Carmine Peachy, I can never pronounce it. This is a CBS Embassy 1980 release year. I think it came out 73 originally. Sort of a bit of a power trio supergroup. Jeff Beck had just disbanded his group. He wanted to work with he'd heard the work with Beck and with Bogart and Peach. He'd worked with he'd heard the work in Vanilla Fudge and Cactus. Wanted to work with this album. It's a good power trio album. It's got that version of Superstition, which was obviously, if you'll probably know, Stevie Wonder had written for Beck, Jeff Beck. So they did their version of it. But unfortunately, like all bands, supergroups, it sort of imploded. Beck suddenly walked out on it. There is a live in Japan album out there as well, which might be worth checking out. I've never heard it, so. Next up, Black Sabbath Technical Ecstasy. Well worn from the cover. It's Tipp-Ex. Somebody's obviously drawn on the cover, and somebody then tried to repair it by Tipp-Ex. This album sort of completes my all the albums I've got with Ozzy on vocals. Sabbath. I'm trying to check when this came out. Got the Spaceship Vertigo label there. 76 it came out. I think you start to notice on here the quality of Sabbath's albums was starting to dwindle. I think the drugs were starting to kick in. It has some good points on it, but it's sort of like, I think, sort of struggling, I think, to get their act together a little bit. And I think Ozzy left just after this album, and then he come back for Never Say Die, which was a bit of a pig of an album. Something totally different. Billy Bragg talking with the Taxman about poetry. Wonderful album. Came out in 1986 on the Go Discs label. It contains Greetings to the New Brunette, Levi Stubbs' Tears, which was a hit single for him. There's Power in the Union, Help Save the Youth of America, Passion, The Warmest Room. Absolutely wonderful. There were more songs. I think sometimes it gets thrown at him. Billy Bragg's very political. To a lot of people, that's his big charm. He's not afraid to say he's a socialist. He's to the left. But I just think this is a wonderful album. I could do it to get some more Billy Bragg, actually. The one thing he has It's passion. He's very passionate to the cause. He hasn't got the greatest voice, and he can tell you that. But it comes from the heart. When it came out, paid no more than £4.49. Next album, Flaming Groovies. Flaming Groovies Now. This came out there on the Sire label. Again, came out in 1976. Absolutely wonderful album. Very power pop. Sort of taps into the beginning of new wave. The Flaming Groovies have obviously been going for for a while. A lot of good covers on here. Feel a Whole Lot Better. Do a cover of Move It, which it was Cliff Richard's first hit single, is on here. That Lennon McCartney There's a Place. Dave Edmunds produced the album. He appears on piano and guitar on Move It. Absolutely wonderful. I had heard the name, that's why I picked up the album rather than know the music. So if there's any other Flaming Groovies albums I need to be aware of, just drop a comment in the comments section. Moving on again, totally different. Fogat, Fall for the City. Fogat means a hell of a lot in America than they do in the UK, even though it's on the Bearsville label here, even though they are a British band. I picked up the album because this is the album that's got Slow Ride on it, and Guitar Hero aficionados will know it because it appears on there. That's how I know the song. I've got a live album of theirs as well. So it was more of a curiosity to pick up. It's a good rocking record. The problem Fogat had was they went to America. It was two acts at the time, I suppose. In Britain, there was two acts. Fogat, Status Quo. Status Quo were big in Britain, Europe, and Australia. Couldn't do a thing. Fogat were big in America and Canada. I'm not sure about Europe. Certainly didn't mean a jot in the UK. And I suppose that's where they settled. You know, you go where your audience is. This I consider to be a bargain. This is Rory Gallagher's Tattoo. This came out originally, I'm trying to think, I know this is the 2018 reissue. This came out, I'm trying to look when it came out originally. I should really do my research. Can't find anything on here. But you do your wish lists on Amazon, and you sometimes just check about the price and sort out by cheapest price, and this came up for about a tenner. I thought it was too good to pass up. Would have preferred an original, but this will do. It sounds great. Million Miles Away is the standout track on here. It's a favourite track. Rory Gallagher is slowly becoming a favourite artist of mine, and it's one of those artists I want to try and build up the collection on vinyl. Again, totally different. We've got Grace Jones. This is Living My Life. This is I think a reissue. I think it's an original. This came out 82 on the Island label. John Downing's 6-inch Pianist always goes on about early 80s Island records, some wonderful sounding albums. This is up there with it. My Jamaican Guy that opens there, Nipple to the Bottle, The Apple Stretching, Dance, I think funky as hell. Obviously she had a really strong image, Grace Jones. It's absolutely wonderful, a wonderful sounding record. And it's well worth seeking out any Grace Jones if you don't have any in the collection. Again, something totally different. This is Joy Division still. This came out in 1981. Obviously on the factory label. There you go. There's variants of copies. There's a grey copy. I've got managed to pick up a white cover, as you can tell, white and blue. One album. It's a double record. One record is a studio record. Exercise One, Ice Age, Sound and Music, Glass, The Only Mistake, Walked in Line, The Kill, Something Must Break, Dead Souls, and their cover of Sister Ray, and sides 3 and 4 were the Sister Ray was recorded at the Moonlight Club in London. Sides 3 and 4 recorded at Birmingham University on the 2nd of May 1980, and I'm not sure if that might have been the last gig they played in the UK as Joy Division before sadly Ian Curtis took his own life. There you go. And you've got, and it's sort of the first time anyone hears Ceremony, which ended up being the first single for New Order. Of course, I've got Shadow Play, Means to an End, Passover, New Dawn Phase, Transmission, Disorder, Isolation, Decades, Digital. Absolutely, really wonderful. To find this, and I found this actually quite cheap in a charity shop. Carrying on more in the 80s vein. Take this out because this has still got its shrink wrap on. This is Killing Joke. This is Night Time. This came out in 85. It contains their biggest hit on here, Love Like Blood, and also the follow-up Kings and Queen. It also has a wonderful song, 80s, on the EG label. Absolutely wonderful song, 80s. The sort of opening riff, which Nirvana got into trouble for sort of like using for Come As You Are, but absolutely wonderful album. Dark Gothic, wonderful. It has Paul Raven on bass. Youth had left at that point and he replaced him. Killing Jack's still going, still makes some really good stuff. It's well worth seeking out, I know some of their greatest hits have been reissued, but the price, and you can argue about how much, it's something like 45 quid, and that's pre-order on Amazon. And some people do argue about like whether new records, new vinyls getting overpriced, and it's a fair topic. I think I'm going to show this as the last album, this current video. I'm doing a part 2 to this. This is Kraftwerk's Man Machine. All the Kraftwerk albums have just been reissued on coloured vinyl. So Man Machine, lovely red vinyl there. Autobahn was in blue, and Radioactivity, I think, might have been in yellow. Computer World was in yellow, and Trans-Euro Express was in clear. Got a nice little booklet there. Nothing new about the presses. I think they took an earlier press and then just put it onto coloured vinyl. This replaces one of these albums that I didn't have a cover for, which I'm I was quite happy to get rid of. They also at the same time reissued the albums in the German language version as well in coloured vinyl. But I think that might have been pushing it. And I'd said this was more to replace an album. I wouldn't have gone out my way. I haven't gone with the others primarily because space is a premium at the moment. So there, wonderful album. Obviously the big hit on here, big track on here is The Model, which was originally the B-side to Computer Love in 1980. Then it got flipped and became a #1 single. No, sorry, 81 was it? Was Computer World? Yeah, Computer Love. And then got flipped in 1982 as the A-side got picked up and became a #1 hit single for the band. So there you go. I've got quite a fair few to show, so I'm going to end this video there and we'll start recording part 2 of the recent finds. So I'll probably put this video up today and then record part 2 and then put that up tomorrow. So if you're new to the channel, you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Thumbs up, thumbs down, love the interaction. Feel free to leave a comment. Whatever you get up to on Saturday, make sure it's a good one, and to you look after yourselves and stay safe, as they say, and keep your eyes peeled for part 2. See you later, VC.